I'm finding myself at a point in my life where I just feel completely stuck and not in a good place, really, at all. I'm up here in the Northeast, and we're just right in the thick of winter, and it's every day is a grind. I work a pretty physical job where I'm in a lot of isolation, actually, and every day it's a challenge to get out of bed. Um, I feel some days I just feel completely tormented by the adversary. And there's lust, there's despair, there's just this feeling of just being overwhelmed. And I'm isolated, and I don't have spiritual refuge, it seems like. And I'm just at a point where, fuck it, I'm just gonna share what's going on. And I've kind of been wanting in the back of my mind to start a channel, or at least to express my life, the ups and downs of it, and the battles I've gone through. Because about just over 2 years ago now, I basically went from living a completely degenerate life to being serious about serving God. And for me, my big thing was, as this whole culture really, but especially, well, no, it's men and women equally, but this sexual, perversion, the lust is just running rampant. And I found myself, and maybe I'll talk about the backstory. I would like to talk about the backstory eventually, but of why I kind of got to that point and all that stuff, might be able to shed some light on some things for me and for other people. But the bottom line is, I was in a very bad place, demonically inspired, just a complete vessel for the demons. And this was at a time when I was a believer for already like 3 years, but I came across some false teachings, doctrines of devils, and it allowed me to justify that the sins that I was doing, that it was okay, that God, he just didn't care about that I was saved through the blood of Christ, and that was that. And I guess I thought, when I started that journey, this was in December of 2022. The first, there's a lot of talk on the semen retention, no FAP spheres that, maybe some of you guys have seen the memes, but like, you get these superpowers. And I'll be honest with you, it did feel like that for a time. For like 60 to 90 days, it was like amazing. I literally felt, it's like the best I've ever felt in my life, really. Won't get into all that right now, I guess, but that came to a grinding halt. Something happened. But long story short, for where I'm at now, because I just kind of want to stay where I'm at now, I'm not in a good place, man. And the pressure, the constant pressure, and the temptation to break the kind of vow that I made before God. And it wasn't a formal vow like, God, I promise I'm not going to spill my seed and all this stuff. Like, I'm not going to make that kind of the vow. It's too heavy. It's too, too serious. But it's like, I know for me, a very addictive personality. Like, if I start, doing that, if I just jerk off one time, eventually it's just gonna take over again. It's like an alcoholic. Like, they can't drink, and a lot of people, they can't just have one or two drinks. They go crazy, and that's I have that in me for sure, with that addictive component. So there's just all this pressure right now in my life to go back and to my lecherous ways, and I'm not gonna fucking do it. And if anyone, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm making this video to help myself because I feel convicted to just get my story out there. And I mean, I want to help people. I want to be a better servant to God, but and I hope that this video does help people, of course. But for me right now, where I'm at, I just feel so isolated, so overwhelmed, so just beaten down, that and in the back of my mind there's this thing, just talk, just you know, I came across this video, shout out Connor Woodman, I think his name is. He was just this English guy, and probably around my age, you know, but just out and just saying, like, I think his video has like gone viral. You know, God wants us to be producers. Like, you've seen enough, you've consumed enough content, it's time to produce. And I've felt that way now for like almost coming on 2 years, and I've never done it, and it's been frustrating. And so I'm just doing it now, and I didn't write out anything. I have no idea what I was going to talk about, other than just this idea of the pressure that I'm feeling right now, the isolation, and also this expectation. Because when I was starting my journey, the semen retention journey, there was a lot of helpful content, and but they kind of framed it, or maybe these people, they're just better well adjusted, and they were in a better situation, or they had a greater discipline, or whatever it was that allowed them to be on a long streak, like 2+ years. Like, this one guy followed was like 8 years, and this guy was like legit, like he had his life together, wife and kids, like a couple different businesses, seemed to have a good enough relationship with God. And but there just seems to be like this thing in that community where, oh, it's like a magic pill, where it's like, if you just do this, the semen retention, everything's going to fall into place. And for me personally, at least that first 60 to 90 days, like, yeah, it did. But then you meet some resistance. Like, we don't wrestle flesh and blood. You know, we have a spiritual adversary. Satan, you know, roams around the earth like a roaring lion, seeking to devour whoever he can. And when you start taking your faith more seriously, I think the more opposition you have. And it's the importance of being in a church, in a community, in a fellowship with people. And I'm somebody who, I'm in a place right now where my spiritual beliefs have been challenged. I don't really know what exactly I believe. I was very much into the Torah community, the Torah observance. I think there's a lot of good stuff there. I just don't know how true it is anymore. And I was just so confident in that. It was kind of like a foundational belief. And then one day, I don't know even how exactly it happened, it just was like, oh yeah, well, what if that's not true, you know? And so I started, you know, researching kind of the early church, and I'm really not, like, I'm kind of depressed most days. I don't have a ton of energy. My work, it's just such a grind. I come home and it's like, you know, but I've been watching some videos, reading a little bit, not nearly as much as I should be, about kind of early church history. But it seems to me that the Orthodox Christianity, I've been entertaining that a lot. But it's funny, you know, I went to a service, a liturgy, the Divine Liturgy as it's called, back in like right the Christmas, or sorry, the week before Christmas. And it was good. And they had like a coffee hour fellowship, and it was good. I talked to the priest, and I just felt at this point like convicted in my spirit to talk to a priest. And the way that the Orthodox Church deals with, you know, your spiritual problems and all this, with confession, and all this different practices they do. It just seemed right on to me, and so I really wanted to talk to this priest. I talked to the priest, got his email. We were going to establish a meeting, and he just never got back to me. I reached out to him a couple times, and I kept wanting to go back to the church every Sunday, but I was so worn out from my work, and I have to work 6 days a week, right? 60 hours ish usually. And it's just such a grind. And obviously I don't have, you probably gathered from now, I don't have a wife or family. I'm single. And this kind of isolation just all day, and then coming home to no one, and to having to just cook all my food and do all this stuff. And it's like, it's been so difficult, and so my one day of the week, I feel like I like to sleep in. And then also it's like a huge thing for me. It's not easy to just go to a church as the new person where everybody knows each other, especially in a church that's so different. I mean, I grew up Catholic, so it's not that extreme, but I'm used to ever since I became a believer, I've been a more Protestant leaning type deal. And, but anyway, I'm kind of rambling here. I just, it's just very difficult, this life, it's very difficult, but I feel convicted to make this video, and, I'm just going to keep grinding away, and I'm not going to go back to my old ways. And, if anybody's in a spot where, they're feeling this isolation like I am, this darkness, this depression, these mood swings, the hopelessness, the despair, the heaviness of life, the lust, the constant cravings to go back like a dog to its vomit, like, guys, we gotta just, like, find some people to talk to. Go to a church. I mean, I'm speaking to myself, obviously. I mean, it's been a few months since I've gone to the church, and it's funny, every week that goes by, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go at the beginning of the week, Sunday, today's Sunday, like, I feel good Sunday because I'm not working. It's like my one day, the reset day, and I sleep in, so I'm feeling good. And I'm like, okay, well, next week for sure, I'm going to go to that Orthodoxy one. I'm going to go to that catechism. I'm going to go to the Vespers. And what happens? I either don't start work early enough so I don't have time, or I start early enough, but like for that particular day, I have like so many stops that I can't manage it, or the weather's terrible, makes the day longer. But there's a real resistance in my life right now, and I feel like this putting this out there is a step in the right direction to counteract that resistance. And I'm just tired. I'm tired of getting beat down by these forces of darkness, or whether it's my own weaknesses, whatever it is. I'm fucking tired of it, man. I'm fucking tired of this shit. And I'm not going to lay down, and I'm going to, God willing, praise God, He's going to lead me into that church. He's going to lead me into the right people. And I pray that He leads all of you. And I just say that we got to keep going. We got to keep fighting, like it's not fucking easy. You look around at the people who are in the world, the non-believers, they have it easy because their reward is now. They're not afflicted by the enemy, they have, and that's part of the temptation that Satan gives us, is like, oh, when we're down, we see them enjoying the flesh. We see them with these women and the money and all this, and we're like, oh, we could do that pretty easily, a lot of us. But we're called to a higher purpose, and we got to keep fighting. And I'm going to keep fighting. That's what this video is about. It's a public declaration. And I urge you guys to, and I know I've been rambling. I think in the future videos, I want to be more concise. If anybody's even watching this, you know, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you. Anything you want me to say, any questions, your personal experiences, if you've gone through certain things on this journey of trying to be on the straight and narrow, of not being a degenerate, I want to hear from you guys. And I'm out here, just out here in the wilderness, man. And I think a lot of people are, and we got to come together. And you know, we become easy prey for the enemy when we're in isolation, and God doesn't want us in isolation. It's not good for a man to be alone. And we gotta come together. And I urge you guys to find a community, find a church, find a fellowship, even if you're not sure what exactly you believe in. Like for me right now, I'm kind of at this orthodoxy thing, like with the early church. It seems to line up the most. And I just got to do it, you know. And I'm talking to myself more than anything else here. But, you know, it's a long road. It's a long and narrow way. If I can't work up to you, you'll surely have to work down to me someday, you know. You know, sometimes God needs to work down to us, you know, because we're flesh and blood. We're weak, you know. We can't... But, you know, our grace, our weakness is perfected. His strength is perfected in our weakness. And that humility of our own, you know, the acknowledgement that we can't do it on our own, that's when we become useful to God, and we can become good vessels. And I know I'm all over the place here, but I already feel better talking about this. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but yeah, God bless, guys. We'll talk at you down the road.